believe AI can help each one of us create more bespoke experiences to drive emotional reactions, drive more revenue and more leads to sales. And today we're going to talk about the differences in AI, the different kinds of AI that are relevant to us as marketers, day-to-day practically. We'll try to debunk a few myths and talk through a few examples of what we might do back in the office on Monday morning that I hope is helpful for you. AI is present throughout our lives. You know, the companies on this screen today probably helped each one of us avoid a bunch of spam emails, figure out how we were going to get to this location most easily, and decide what we were going to go watch on our tablet later on today. How many of us are using AI today, show of hands, in our professional lives today? About half the room. That's great. And it turns out it's available to us throughout the funnel. Those of us that have been running paid ads, many of us do, have been using AI out in the open for more than a decade. You know, when Google says, hey, give me 5 search creatives, not 1, they're using AI to figure out the right ad to show each individual visitor in the moment, showing the popular ones more often, and starving the losers of traffic. Mid-funnel, for us as B2B marketers, you've got companies like MadKudu and Infer that are doing predictive lead scoring. Further down the funnel, you've got companies like Drift and Intercom helping each one of us engage with our prospects by creating chatbots, a set of rules that will engage our customers. Also at the end of the funnel, you've got companies like Intellimize that are using artificial intelligence to tailor experiences to move people further through the funnel along the way. What kinds of AI matter? What are the distinctions that matter to us as marketers, not the data scientists with whom we're working day to day? Well, to talk about that, I'll begin with before AI. All of us are familiar with A/B testing as we're doing personalization. We take 50% of our traffic, show them something new, take the other half, show them something that we're familiar with, run that typically for weeks or months, and then we figure out, hey, there's a winner. I'm going to go ask engineering to bake that into our base website and show that to everybody forever. It's great because it's data-driven marketing. But often we as marketers then say, look, I don't want to treat everyone the same. And so we turn to the next kind of AI, which is rules. And these often take the form like this, where you might say, hey, look, if somebody's in San Francisco, I'm going to show them the Northern California promotion. If this, then that. And it's great because we're not treating everyone the same. You need to know what segment someone's in when they show up at your site, and it allows us to treat them differently based on that segmentation. We as marketers say, hey, that did well for me. I want more like that. And so we'll then create additional rules. You know, we'll find somebody in a particular segment, particular context, particular moment, and give them a different experience, different offer, different content. And then we'll say, I really like that. I want more. And we'll write a zillion of them. And that creates a burden for us. You know, if you wrote a rule for every city in the US, you'd have 35,000 of them that you now need to maintain and manage over time. Practically, as marketers, we tend to top out at a few tens of rules. Most of the companies you see talking to you about AI-based personalization today are doing this and helping you do this. And it's particularly useful when one audience truly cannot see what another audience is seeing. Like that San Francisco example, you can't show someone in Texas the Northern California promotion. This mess of rules causes us to often think about the next kind of AI, which is machine learning. It begins with data. And you should be thoughtful about the approach you're taking because some approaches require like Google level of data. Some require a lot less to begin. Then you'll pick an algorithm, a model that you're then going to have a machine learning scientist train. Hopefully, your model is updating itself regularly so that the new things that are happening are being put out into production. You then make a prediction, you see what happens, you create more data, and the cycle continues. A system is effectively creating a huge number of rules, auto-discovering segments, and updating them over time automatically. As we're trying to personalize the digital portion of our prospect's journey, what are the strengths of machine learning when it comes to website optimization? Machine learning can handle an awful lot at once. 78 million is the average number of versions of a page our customers managed over the last couple of years. It can also help accelerate our learning. 25 is the average number of years of A/B testing each one of our customers did every year. Imagine if you could accelerate your learning in your business that much. What would that do for you? 4 is the number of hours it took machine learning to react when one of our customers ran a big promo. They tripled their traffic overnight. Turned out the new 200% didn't behave the same way the original 100% did. The right answer itself changed. When correctly applied, machine learning can have a big impact on our business. 46% is the average lift our customers saw over the last 2 years across all of our customers in the metrics they defined as important to their business. And together, these 4 things enable us as marketers to do the one-to-one marketing, the individualized personalization we've been talking about forever. We see a bunch of myths and misconceptions out in market today, and I wanted to try to debunk a few of them. The first is that AI is this panacea. I can just turn over everything, all the marketing I'm doing to AI, and if I find just the right algorithm, I can fire and forget. AI is really powerful when correctly applied, but it's not this magic potion that we can just take our hands off the wheel. For example, to do website personalization well, we think you have to do 3 things. First, you need to empathize with your prospects. You need to walk a day in their shoes and understand, in a B2B context, how they're going to get promoted, how are they evaluated, what's going to get them up on stage with you as a happy customer. 2, you need to be creative. You need to ideate, come up with messages and experiences that you think are more likely to move them further down the funnel and turn them into customers. And 3, you need to manage a lot at once. You have to run a bunch of experiments, see what works well to tailor your personalization. To date, AI is not particularly great at those first 2. We as marketers are uniquely great at human empathy, human creativity, and we think actually the best outcomes happen when you pair us as marketers together with AI that helps us achieve a lot at once. Myth number 2, there are a lot of people talking about AI today, in general in the market, partly because it's a great buzzword, partly because it may have helped them raise money. A recent study published in the Financial Times found that 40% of almost 3,000 AI-related startups in Europe had no evidence of AI whatsoever in their public documentation, in interviews with executives. Okay, fine, that's one class. More often, you've got teams doing the if this, then that based approach to personalization. Nothing wrong with that, that is AI. It may not be what you intuitively thought was going to happen, but it is AI. Third scenario, a lot of companies are offering data scientist as a service. That scenario begins with them asking you for this big pile of data. They then have a super smart PhD go tune a model, train it up, and push it to production. Awesome, that's real machine learning. The thing to then ask is, hey, how often is that updating itself? If you're using AI in a way that should be responsive to what's happening on your website, different traffic, you may want to do something that responds more quickly. There's no intellectual dishonesty there. It's just what's the right match for you. Third myth. This one we hear all the time. I can't start AI. It's too complicated for us. We need to go master a whole bunch of other things first. We think part of this comes from the work AI companies ask us to do. Like us as marketers choosing between deep learning, random forests, and neural networks. That is a confusing choice. We didn't go to school to learn that. Often we see marketers using AI to automate the rote work of personalization, freeing us up to go do the things we're great at doing, that empathy and creativity. We also see them using AI to do superhuman things, right? Managing millions of versions of a page, personalizing down to the individual. That would take superhuman amounts of time and precision, and AI can practically help us do that today. Now, to personalize our websites, we need to know something about our visitors. And so what is the data we typically see people using to personalize websites? We see it falling generally into 3 buckets. The first is contextual. You might know what website was somebody on before they came to mind, or what device are they on, or what mindset are they in? Like, is it a weekday and they're in the office? Is it a weekend and they're at home? 2, you've got firmographic data. This is often data you'll go purchase from somebody else to learn, hey, how many employees, how much revenue, what industry are they in? This might be sitting in your DMP or your CRM. Third, you've got behavioral data. You can see what people did on your site. You can see, hey, did they go to this industry's case study? Okay, that tells me something about them. Did they read the senior executive focused content? That tells me something else. Have they been here half a dozen times? I may push them to go talk to sales more than I would have otherwise. So that's the data we often find people using. And I wanted to then turn to a few examples that I hope are helpful as you go back to the office on Monday morning that you might be able to put into practice that help you better personalize your experience to move people through the funnel. The first is to stoke the competitive juices of the person showing up at your site. You may have a logo farm. This is Amplitude's website. I just took a screenshot of their site. And this is almost certainly the page everyone would see, assuming they showed the same thing to everybody. Now, what if I was JetBlue? And what if I showed up at their site? And instead of seeing this standard logo farm, 3 of my competitors were there. What if, Alaska, Southwest, and United were there? That would help me justify the purchase of Amplitude to my boss. It would stoke my competitive juices, and it would give me some social proof that this is useful for people I respect. Often, this is done using what Ray described of, I'm going to pay a vendor to do reverse IP lookup and figure out, oh, got it, I'm at JetBlue's office. Then another vendor, maybe the same one, to go figure out what industry they're in. Then I'm going to tag my logos and connect them to the industry that visitor's from. My humble suggestion, if you're doing this, don't make all the logos the competitors. That's creepy. Make half of them or a third of them competitors. That feels like serendipity. Now, if you know what industry someone's in, you also can tailor the case study you show them. This is Mixpanel's website. These are actual screenshots. They've already created all these case studies by industry. Wouldn't it be better if the case study that showed up when I show up at a site were the one that were relevant for my industry? Wouldn't that help move me further down the funnel? How many people in this room are accountable for driving leads from their website? Show of hands. Okay. Now, how many people are accountable not just for the leads from the site, but downstream sales qualified leads or stage 2 leads? Almost everyone who raised their hand the first time raised it the second time. We worked with a company, Looker, whose demand gen team was accountable for the same thing. And they tried a whole bunch of different ideas over our work together, and they drove great lift. They drove 30% more leads coming off their website. Awesome. They drove 15% more downstream sales qualified leads. Also great. Sales was happy to get 15% more leads, but they got a bunch more they didn't want as well. And they said, hey, can you do better? So Looker went and examined their data to see, hey, are there mid-funnel activities that happen on the website that correlate with somebody becoming a downstream lead later on? All of our intuition was like, oh, well, the channel they come from. Like, is it this paid search ad? Is it social organic? Is it content syndication? That would be the thing that tells us. Turns out, in their particular situation, the data didn't reflect that. In their situation, it turns out the kind of content, the offer somebody engaged with on their website, that correlated with somebody becoming a downstream sales qualified lead. So what did they do with AI? They created a bunch of goals, not one goal to optimize for, multiple goals, each with multiple values, with the values corresponding to how likely are they to become a downstream sales qualified lead. For them, that drove 44% lift in downstream SQLs. Sales was super happy. At the same time, it drove 16% fewer overall leads coming off the website. Sales was ecstatic. They got more of what they wanted, less of what they didn't. So if you can correlate downstream leads with some activity on a website, you can use AI to go drive more of what sales wants and less of what they don't. How many people in the room are doing ABM today, account-based marketing? Almost the entire room. We think ABM and AI can and should go well together. ABM is often a very small part of your traffic, but super valuable. We think for that traffic, it's often helpful to use rules, like you're going to show somebody the company name or their rep's name, and pair that with AI for other parts of the experience. Like, which one of these 5 headlines do I want to show? For the rest of your traffic, the anonymous traffic, I don't know, maybe that's 95% of your traffic, then you can use AI to tailor and personalize that entire experience, figuring out the right set of things to show each visitor to move them further through the funnel. So we very much believe ABM and AI should go well together and help you optimize across all of your traffic. Many people in the room are accountable for driving leads to sales. I'm guessing a bunch of us also have some self-serve sign-up options, depending on the business we're in. If you know that somebody is a low-value lead or a high-value lead, you can treat them differently. That might come from predictive lead scoring. It might come from you setting up rules to say, look, below a certain revenue threshold or employee count, we're going to treat them as low value. If that were the case, you could do things like not invite them to talk to sales, not invite them to request a quote, and show them a different experience that focuses on self-serve. Go set up a trial. If they were higher value, then you could turn things around. Instead of saying try a trial, tell them, you know what, call us or talk to us. Encourage them to talk to sales. We had a customer who went further, a bit aggressive, and said, you know what, for the high value leads, I'm going to remove pricing from the site. You literally can't find it anymore. He wanted people to say, look, I want to know how much this costs. I've got to call sales. In that particular case, it turned out to drive more leads to sales and more higher value leads. There was some risk in that. It panned out for him really well. AI can help you try an awful lot at once. What we're all used to is prioritizing a whole bunch of ideas down to one. Trying that one idea, waiting weeks or months to get an answer, and you can't touch anything in the meantime. You don't want to pollute the test. Using AI, you can try all your ideas in parallel. Try a whole bunch of stuff at the same time. Use AI to automatically feed the winners more traffic. Protect yourself from the ideas that didn't turn out to be winners by starving them of traffic. Then, add and remove ideas anytime you want. Use machine learning to protect you from that pollution of the experiment, and often get insights within hours or days, helping each one of us more rapidly iterate what we're doing to better tailor the experience. I hope these ideas are helpful. I hope they give you a sense of how you can practically use AI today to go move people further through the funnel. And I want to leave you with half a dozen things to take away. One, most of the AI you see out in the market today is if this, then that. It's quite useful. And recognize that that is not the same as machine learning. They both have their place. Two, we humbly believe AI will not be Terminator and will not take away all of our jobs, and that the best outcomes happen when you pair human creativity and empathy with the abilities for machine learning to manage a lot at once. Three, all of us believe this, it's the premise of this conference, you can and should meet your prospects where they are in their journey with you. And that's practically achievable today at an individual level. You also should treat different prospects differently. Your sales team will thank you for it, and clearly many people in this room are accountable for making their sales team more successful. AI overall can help you accelerate your personalization efforts, get a lot more done, and tailor your journey both for your ABM named accounts and for the rest of the traffic that's showing up at your site.